I quit my job at 24 with no plan and moved back in with my parents, all to be a full-time artist. I had no plan, no goals, and literally just vibed out for approximately 6 months, not knowing where this endeavor would take me. Fast forward 2 years, today I'm 26, working with my dream clients, traveling the world, making my own schedule, and earning more than I ever did, all while doing what I love. My name is Sapphire Peters, and here's my story. Hey guys. So for as long as I can remember, I have always had a creative itch. When I was younger, I had a Wreck This journal. If you know, you know, but I absolutely devoured that thing. I even used to write music, poetry, songs. I love to draw and make art, even though I was really bad at it, but creativity has literally always been a staple in my life from a very young age. After that, at about in the 8th grade, I discovered my love for photography, and I was lucky enough to have parents who, supported that hobby and got me a cute little fancy camera. And literally from the 8th grade all the way into high school, all the way into university, my plan was to be a photographer and a videographer. And it wasn't until my 3rd year of university that I got into illustration. I essentially wanted to learn how to draw because I was like, okay, well, if I want to take photography and videography seriously, I need to know how to draw so I can storyboard in the industry and essentially get my ideas across. And so that was really the catalyst of me discovering art in the way that I did. So I bought an iPad and I dedicated myself to one daily illustration. Every single day I posted it on Instagram. Like, I made an account specifically just for this. I had maybe like 100 followers, but knowing that those 100 people were watching me, it kept me super accountable and determined to finish this challenge. And I did. During this 1-year process, I really discovered my love for art and digital illustration. Just being able to sit down and dedicate every single day to something, you really learn to love it and you learn the beauty of it, and it just opened up a whole new world of creativity for me, to be honest. But unfortunately, it was just a hobby. It was just a hobby. Like, growing up in a South Asian household and growing up, honestly, just even by society, art is a hobby. Like, art is never looked at as anything serious, or if you are an artist, you're always told that you're going to struggle. It's a struggling job. You're not going to be able to make ends meet. All of these negative connotations around art and illustration. But little did I know what the universe had in store for me. After I graduated university, I worked in marketing for about 1 to 2 years, because I thought that was the path I needed to go on, was to work a traditional 9 to 5, do what everyone else was doing, essentially. So basically, I worked in this job that I wasn't really passionate about until I couldn't. Like, I worked until I had my last straw, and I quit literally on a whim, like I said, with no plan, no goals, no idea what I was gonna do. I just knew that I didn't want to work the 9 to 5 and that I needed to be more fulfilled creatively. Like, the creative itch inside of me that I always had as a child was being suppressed in this 9 to 5 job, and it wasn't being shown, and I felt like I wasn't living authentically to who I am, which is at the core a creative being. And so I just knew that, like, life was too short. I need to follow my calling and I need to do something that fulfills me. I'm happy to see that since I quit my job in 2022, so 2 years ago, I have had the opportunity to work with brands like Sephora, Truly Hard Seltzer, Scotiabank, HGTV, and even create artwork for the city that I was born and raised in. I've even had the opportunity to give back and curate galleries and events for local creatives, and even hold workshops where I was able to teach, because, like, what the hell? I never thought in a million years that I would be able to teach creativity, but I did it. If I never followed my inner calling, it was like almost like I had a voice inside of me leading me and telling me that, hey, there's something else that you were being called to do in life. And I literally picked up the phone and said, all right, bet, let's do it. And if I didn't do that, if I didn't listen to that voice, I probably would still be working a 9 to 5 job that didn't fulfill me. All right, let's talk about how. How on earth did I go from a girl with literally no plans to be a freelance entrepreneur to someone who's been able to do this full-time successfully for 2 years? I'm gonna talk about the practical ways that I did this, and also the, I guess, quote unquote, non-practical or non-traditional woo-woo ways that I did this. First and foremost, practicality, I set goals for myself. I basically, in December of 2022, I actually sat down and I said, all right, here are my goals. This is what I want to achieve. Here are actionable steps and ways that I am going to achieve them. For example, one of my goals was I want to grow a social media following. Okay, I cannot control how many followers I get. That is up to the algorithm and that is up to people to actually follow me. But what I can control to gain those followers is by posting consistently 2 to 5 times per week. Knowing this goal that I cannot control, I created the actionable steps to help me get there. And so I did that for each and every one of my goals, and I referred back to them. Every month I would look back and reflect and say, did I do these steps to achieve my goals? If not, how can I refocus myself for the next month? So that is number one, goal setting and just staying on track with that. The second practical tip is surrounding yourself with people who have achieved what you want to achieve. Because, okay, think about it. If you haven't seen somebody run 100 meters, for example, you're not gonna think it's possible because you've never seen anyone do it. So for me, I followed people who were working in the creative entrepreneurship field. I followed teachers, I followed other artists, I followed educators, and I saw how much money they were able to make, and I saw how they were able to make that money and how they were able to sustain a career in this field. And that gave me all these ideas, and it also gave me validation that someone else in the world has done this. I can do it too, and I can do it in my own unique way. So really unfollow the toxic people on Instagram who are not serving you, who are not doing anything for you, and start following the people who are actually gonna motivate you and show you that your dreams are possible. The other practical tip I'm gonna give you is to put yourself out there, whether that's in person at your local creative community events or online by just simply posting yourself and sharing your journey, sharing your artwork, and sharing who you are. I did a mix of both of these things. I definitely posted a lot on social media about my artwork, about my journey. At first I would just post my artwork, but then I started to post my face, about me and my journey, and that definitely helped people connect with me and my story a lot. But I also started going out to a lot of creative events in my local area, such as, artist galleries. Like I went out to support other artists, I went to networking events, I went to the big city, so I went to Toronto a lot, and I met people there. And so you have to continually put yourself out there and show your face to people and be like, hey, I'm also creative. This is my dream. These are my aspirations. I'm showing up for you and I'm showing up for myself. And in turn, those people will get to know you and they will be able to show up for you as well. Now onto some of the woo-woo part of it, as I like to say, but it's not woo-woo. I'm very spiritual. I believe that the universe puts stuff into our world that is meant to be there, such as me getting that calling, quote unquote, to pursue something creative. I believe that was the universe talking to me, or my higher creative self talking to me to do that. So one of the things is manifestation, and I could do a whole video talking about manifestation, but essentially visualizing what you want to see over and over again and feeling how you would feel if you got those things. So for example, I kid you not, I voice note, okay? Every few mornings, I will get up in the morning and first thing I will do, I will script to myself on voice notes on my phone. And one of the mornings, I literally said, I work with brands like Sephora, Nike, Adidas, all these cool brands that I wanted to work with. Tell me how. A few months later, Sephora reached out to me. They emailed me, okay? I don't know how they found me. I never asked. I probably should have asked, but they literally just emailed me out of the blue, and I was able to create a whole 2-part illustration for them for International Women's Day this past March. Basically, what I did there was I visualized working with them. I visualized the excitement of how I would feel working with them, and I spoke that into existence, because there is power in your words. When you are negative to yourself and you give yourself negative self-thoughts and you're critical towards yourself, you are manifesting that into your life. But when you are positive to yourself and you constantly tell yourself, I'm gonna work with this brand, I can do this, that's what's gonna happen. You are gonna work with that brand. You are gonna be able to do that because you are subconsciously telling yourself you can do it, and you're reprogramming your mind to think that way. On that note, another thing that really worked for me was honestly being my biggest cheerleader and believing in myself. How can you expect other people to believe in you and wanna work with you when you don't even believe in yourself and your abilities? So I always hype myself up by myself, in person, in the mirror, in my journal, but also online. Like I celebrate my wins online constantly. constantly. If I worked with a big client, I will post it because I'm proud of that. I worked hard, and not only are you hyping yourself up, but you're also creating like the image and showing people like, hey, I can do this. I worked with these big brands. So if another big brand sees that, they're gonna wanna continue to work with you. So yeah, don't be afraid to celebrate your wins online and continue to believe in yourself privately and publicly, because again, you gotta be your biggest cheerleader, and when you believe in yourself, so will others. Now I want to talk a little bit about the why, because a lot of people always ask, why turn your hobby into your full-time job? Like, have a full-time job and have a hobby, because sometimes when you turn your hobby into your full-time job, it takes away the fun and the creativity and the passion. And yes, while I kind of can see that perspective, I just felt like life is too short. And what's the point of living a life where you're miserable for 8 hours of the day, for 40 hours of the week, working that 9 to 5? If I am miserable, what is the point? What is the point in life? Like, I'd rather turn my passion hobby that gives me purpose and sense into this world into my full-time career and inspire people and create a happier and brighter world to live in. There are also 3 important pillars or sections that I want to talk about. So number 1 is location freedom, because working for yourself and not having a boss means you can work anywhere in the world. You can work remotely. I've been able to travel, okay? This year for 1 whole month, I went to Europe and I traveled so many different countries in that month, and I was able to still work and still make money because I do everything remotely. And like, I don't know, I feel like as humans, we're meant to see this beautiful earth that God has given us to be able to explore different cultures and countries and just enjoy life. And so that was like a big thing for me, to have the freedom to travel while not being limited and not having to sacrifice my work for travel. Number 2 is time freedom. So working for yourself means you can work whatever hours you want. And honestly, yes, sometimes as a creative entrepreneur, you end up working more than 40 hours a week, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can work 20-hour weeks. You get to create your own schedule. So for example, when I'm traveling, maybe during the day I am out exploring from like the hours of 9 to 5. I'm exploring the city, I'm exploring different parts of where I am, but then in the evening, I'm able to lock in and work for a couple hours and still get the same amount of work done. And this doesn't just apply to travel, it also applies to other things in life, because for sometimes I have random appointments on a Tuesday at 12 p.m. I don't have to worry about asking my boss if I can go, or like worry about missing hours or anything like that. I can decide that I want to go to that appointment and I can make up for it later when I choose to do so. So I don't have any children right now, but I know one day I do want to have a family, and when I do, it's super important to me to be able to spend a lot of time with my kids and my family, and being able to build this time freedom for myself ensures that when that time comes, I will be able to take time off and I will be able to spend time with those kids and see them grow. And lastly, financial freedom. As an artist, we get told that there is no money to be made, but the reality of it is that there's a lot of money to go around in the creative entrepreneurship world. And guess what? Not only is there a lot of money to be made, there is no ceiling to how much money you can make. You don't have to beg for a salary increase every single year from your boss. How much money you make is dependent on you and how much work you put in and the connections you make and the clients you reach out to and the clients that reach out to you from seeing you on social media. And there is no cap. You can make $20,000 one month, you can make $5,000 another month. Some people make $100,000 in a month, okay? And I'm not saying like you need to make that much, that's a lot of money. You may not necessarily need that money, but the option is there to not worry about bills and not worry about like, am I gonna be able to put food on the table for myself and my family? And you can do all this while doing what you love and not having a cap to how much money you can make. But mind you, you do have to put in a lot of extra work. It's not all sunshines and rainbows getting paid. You do have to put in the work to make money, but to me, that's a trade-off I'm willing to make. I'm willing to put in that extra work to be able to be financially free and maybe even retire early one day and continue to travel the world, who knows? My friends, at the end of the day, your life is what you make it. You are the author of your own book. No one can tell you how to be, how to live, how to work. Only you can do that. The people you talk to, the food you consume, the media you listen to, the conversations you participate in, the people you follow on social media, all of these things and more they all have an influence over you and how you think and how you act and how you operate in your daily life. And those are all choices that you can make for yourself to better yourself. Choose wisely and understand that if you are unhappy, you have the power to change that as quickly or as slowly as you choose and as you decide. You have the power to create your own reality, so create one that counts, create one that fulfills you, and create one that brings ultimate joy and happiness to you, because at the end of the day, life is too short not to live a happy life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.